Hey guys, what's up? Karaka here, and today I'm here with another Is It Worth It? This time around, we'll be doing a review on the D-BT02, a brush with the legends. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So, BT2 has been out for around 4 days now, as of the recording of this. And I picked up all the stuff most of the stuff I needed for the decks I want to build now. And I guess the prices have sort of stabilized. It was kind of fluctuating in the first 2 days, but I guess now it's a little bit more stable because a lot of people that want to get their stuff first have already got it over the weekends. So we can have a look at the prices. And yeah, first off, let's have a look at the DSRs. Bastion is at 17k yen, almost 18k yen, and Bruce is at 15k yen. So this is kind of standard with the prices from the previous set as well. I think Nirvana is even a bit cheaper, and then Trickstar is around the same price as the Bastion. Two very popular decks. Final Rush is pretty popular as well, but I guess, you know, it is a popular deck and it's very strong, but I guess the artwork doesn't gel with a lot of people here in Asia. So I guess that's why, you know, if we look at the cards itself, there's a pattern. You guys can see there's a pattern. I think it will reflect back in the West, where a lot more people are more accepting of the Final Rush style of art. But we'll see, So let's have a look at the SPs now. The most expensive is obviously going to be Dragonic Overlord by a large margin, actually. The second one is that PVD, so the counter cards are pretty expensive. A lot of people were kind of unhappy that they released these guys so early, but apparently there's still a lot of hype for these guys. I'm pretty happy I pulled one of these guys in my unboxings. So yeah, there's that. Everything else is very, very cheap. So I guess these are the main chase cards are the Overlords and the Phantom Blaster Dragons. Yeah, these are pretty expensive. These are like what you would pay for a high-end SP in the G era, or I think V era as well. So I guess these are the only things that they brought back. Not only did they bring back the old units, they also brought back the pricing of these cards. Yeah, it's going to cost you quite a bit if you want to get a playset of these things. So I'm just going to get a playset of not a playset. I'm just going to get SP of the Ride Line for Overlord probably, and then I'm just going to keep the other ones as low rarity just to save my wallet a bit. But yeah, Varina is also pretty expensive. This is kind of in line with the prices in last set, I believe. I think the Arcs and the Valiante were also pretty expensive. Arcs is kind of cheap now. I guess a lot of people that wanted to get him have already gotten. So yeah, but yeah, Elgar is pretty good. It's a pretty good card, so I can, you know, see the price there. Leonard is actually a lot more expensive than I thought it would be. It is a really, really strong card, so definitely makes sense. But yeah, I thought this guy would be around the 1,500 range. And then yeah, these are all around the same price. I guess the lowest price ones are the Bastion support and the Soul Charging one for I guess you would use this in Barrow Magnus, which is pretty interesting. So if we look at the other ones, they're fairly cheap. You'll see that most of the double rare waifus are generally more expensive than the other cards. The fronts are also expensive because fronts are pretty good shield value. Yeah, actually, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with my pulls then because I got quite a few front SPs. I traded my Stoichia front for Dragon Empire front because Aegis plays Stoichia and he pulled a Dragon Empire front. The one that he gave me that did have a little bit of print line though, so that's fine. But everything else looks pretty good. The encounter cards are expensive. Look at this. Maha is 3,000 yen. You know, waifu tax. Everything else is pretty reasonable. And the Spike Bro waifu is also expensive. So even, well, expensive to an extent, but if you want to SP your full deck, it's not gonna cost you that much. I don't think. If you want to foil out your deck, it's gonna probably cost you around, unless you're playing the encounter decks, it's probably gonna cost you around what you might have paid for a high tier G deck, or G or V deck at its highest price. So if you play a base rarity like this, fairly cheap. If you guys look at, the only thing that are really worth noting are the PVD, Overlord, and Elgar, which is pretty much expected. Everything else is fairly reasonably priced. Yeah, fairly priced. The Aurora Battle Princess is 800 yen. Again, I guess it's waifu tax. I don't think the deck's particularly strong. It's decent now. The support that they got is decent, but I don't think she's better than Leonard. So, waifu tax. And Stoichi, as always, for now, has been the lowest. I think with the next set, BT3, when they get that Maelstrom looking like Bro, the Stoichi cards will probably go up a bit. So there's that. And if you look at the double rares are just really cheap. Very cheap. We don't. Oh, okay. I guess the only thing that's expensive is the dragon, or the stealth dragon from Dragon Empire. Mainly because you really need to run this in overdress decks for the Soul Blast. Everything else is really cheap. And I guess the Bastion support is kind of expensive. I guess the better card in this set for Bastion is this guy over the guy who gives boost. I don't know. I'm just looking at the price. I guess they're fairly even, and everything else is pretty cheap. I guess the fronts are expensive, similar to the perfect cards in the last set. I'll try the H cards. Let's see if we can find any expensive H cards. So yeah, the fronts are expensive as expected, and I'm guessing the encounter cards are also going to be expensive for the H cards. Yeah, cards that you would probably run 4 of are pretty expensive, like the encounter cards. The front triggers, we'll probably run 3 or 4. In most builds, there are some builds that you might not run any, but yeah. I think the prices are pretty healthy for this set. It's definitely not very expensive. Obviously, this is a different issue when we look at the pricing in the West. Maybe I'll do a comparison video later on when BT2 and BT1, or BT1 and BT2 comes out in the West, so we can do a bit of a comparison. But yeah, looking at it, the game is still very cheap to play. If you're not looking to build the encounter decks, it's not going to cost you that much at all. And even the encounter decks, they're not super broken, so you're not paying out of your ass to play the meta. In fact, I think the meta cards are fairly cheap, so not bad. But overall, I think the support for the set is really strong. I think it kind of leveled up all the other decks in a very good way, because before we saw the results previously, a lot of the decks were Bastion. It was, I think, majority of the top decks, at least even in the West, it's majority Bastion. So I'm guessing they took that in account, and they kind of didn't give Bastion that many support. They did give Bastion a little bit of support, and some of the support they got is pretty good, the order card mainly, but they also gave the other decks better support, like comparative to what they were in BT1. Like Orphis has some really nice support. I was testing the Orphis deck, and it's super fun. Well, it's not super fun to play, but it's a lot. You have a lot more stuff to do than you did in the previous sets, because you have a lot more options to play. And I guess I think Seraph Snow got a huge boost as well. And the way you play Varina is very different from what you played in the previous set, so that's good as well. But yeah, overall, I think the biggest winner though is going going to be Final Rush because they got Leonard, and Leonard is just bonkers. Yeah, Leonard is pretty stonks. But that's pretty much it for the video, guys. Not much else to say. I'm very happy with how the D format is going on so far, because not only do we have great pricing, and you know we can bling out our decks for fairly affordable prices, but I think the way that they design the decks now is also pretty interesting. You know, when BT1 first released, we didn't really have that many options to build decks. But I think as we get more and more sets, you can kind of mix and match, you know, some of the support that different nations have with each other decks. So definitely very excited for that. I think, yeah. Obviously, I think the encounter decks, the way you build them are kind of restrictive right now, since a lot of the other a lot of support that each of the nations got is kind of catered to, you know, their BT1 support. There's a few generic cards you can use, but you don't have too many options. But I think as more and more sets come out, the encounter decks will get better and better, because you have more cards to add on in the deck without actually needing direct support with the set. So again, very happy with how they do it. I you know, I am very happy with D right now. Just more happy than I was with V. I do have some minor gripes with it, but for the most part, I think this is a pretty good format so far. If you guys want to see my gripes with the format, you guys can feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll do a rant, I guess. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. This is Karataku, and I'll see you guys next time.